Welcome to This Week in Hastings Headline History, where we take a look back at what was making news in Hastings, Florida over a century ago. These are stories directly out of the pages of the Hastings Herald, which was published weekly in the early 1900s. So sit back and enjoy as I share with you a few of the stories from the October 31st, 1919 edition. Bars were let down. Congress has acted promptly and vigorously on the veto by President Wilson on the Prohibition Enforcement Act, following the example of the House of Representatives on Monday in overriding the veto by an overwhelming vote. The Senate last night passed the act over the veto by 65-20, or 8 more than the necessary 2/3. With this action by the Senate, the Department of Justice is ready to deal with any offenders against the drastic provisions of the new act. So drastic is the Enforcement Act that a man, for instance, may be fined or put in jail for displaying a picture of a brewery or a keg, but his right to store liquor in his own home for his own use stood up against all attacks in the committee and both houses of Congress. Warning went out immediately to dealers selling 2, 3, and 4% beer, without apparent risk heretofore that the new law fixed 1/2 of 1% as the legal limit of alcoholic content. Large quantity of booze taken from county safe. The second liquor theft that has occurred in the last month took place at Bunnell. Last Tuesday night, approximately $15,000 worth of champagne and other alcoholic beverages were stolen, it's alleged, from the safe in the county courthouse. This safe, it is said, was formerly the property of Bunnell County Development Company, and doubtless its combination was known to a number of people outside of the county authorities, which may account for the fact that it was opened with no apparent difficulty. This liquor was confiscated from a truck, it's alleged, that was Jacksonville bound, and at the time of the confiscation was stored by the authorities in the vaults of the county courthouse. For some reason, which is at present unknown, the Joy water was moved upstairs into the safe Monday, but someone removed it from its hiding place Tuesday, and its present whereabouts are undiscovered so far. Fined for contempt. C.H. Bradford was before Judge Jones this morning, charged with having a pint of whiskey in his possession. The court endeavored to ascertain where he obtained the liquor, but his statement was not satisfactory, and he was fined $50.06 and costs, or 20 days for contempt of court. He gave notice of appeal. An alligator chase. There was staged this morning down in the express room of the Florida East Coast Railway a most exciting and thrilling alligator hunt. A big alligator weighing about 800 pounds and shipped from Seville, Florida to George Reddington at the South Beach Alligator Farm via the American Railway Express route escaped from his crate in the express room at the FEC station Sunday night, and this morning was roaming at large. The huge saurian was greatly enjoying his freedom and did not intend to return to the narrow confines of his crate without making trouble, and he led his group of pursuers a merry chase. It took about 25 men and 2 hours of valuable time to finally lasso the brute and return him to his place of captivity, and needless to say, the express office authorities were more than glad to pass on this very lively cargo to Mr. Reddington at the South Beach Alligator Farm. St. John's gets clean bill of health from State Board. To St. John's goes the distinction of being one of the 6 counties in Florida in which no deaths from malaria were recorded during 1918, according to the records in the Vital Statistics Department of the State Board of Health. Malaria throughout the state showed a good decrease last year over the year before, 224 deaths from the disease being reported in 1918 against 273 in 1917. State Board of Health officials attribute this to a great extent to the activities of the Sanitary Engineering Department under George Simmons, Jr. This department has made a persistent mosquito elimination campaign for the last 2 years as a governing factor in the control of malaria. Death came at sunset hour in Lighthouse. While climbing the circular stairs of the Mosquito Inlet Lighthouse to flash the warning light at sunset to vessels at sea, Joseph Davis, assistant lighthouse keeper, came to the sunset of life and dropped dead Sunday of heart failure. He was 59 years old. Mr. Davis has been assistant keeper at the lighthouse for the past year, and for many years previous had been the captain on ocean-going schooners and was well known up and down the coast. From the editorial section, patronize your hometown institutions. We often wonder why some people send to Sears and Roebuck and Montgomery Ward for articles that can be bought here in town as cheap as they can be purchased elsewhere, and still pay the transportation charges. Did you ever run an account with any of these companies for 6 months or a year? Will they send you goods on your personal check until the check has gone through? Do you always get the thing you order the first time? And do you not have to wait 3 weeks or a month after you have sent your money? Again, do any of these concerns spend money in St. Johns County for improvements, or do they care anything about your general welfare? We'll say they don't, so keep the home fires burning. Another editorial asks residents to make their homes prettier. Hastings would do well to emulate other towns along the East Coast that sprung up from villages the size of our own to prosperous-looking towns and cities by improving the appearance of the town, planting trees, and working together through a civic club for the betterment of the community. Situated as she is in the direct path of the tourist by reason of the Dixie Highway, which forms the principal thoroughfare of Hastings, this town could attract numbers of winter visitors that are passing through here daily if every home were surrounded with flowers and lawns. If each citizen would follow the example of Mr. Nix and plant trees in front of his residence property, with a little attention to the grounds surrounding his own home, Hastings as a whole could not but succeed in attracting settlers. Outsiders judge a town by its appearance, much as they size up a man by the clothes he wears, and it is certainly an undertaking that would repay us tenfold in added population and its resulting monetary profits. Give us more milk. One of the speakers at the recent citrus seminar and livestock roundup at the University of Florida, Gainesville, made the statement that in order to be properly nourished, every child should consume at least 1 quart of milk each day, and every adult no less than 1 pint of milk. So it would appear that milk feds are preferred to corn feds when it comes to human beings. In all probability, the diet would be much more acceptable. But the problem lies not so much in knowing what is best for us as how to get it. The price of milk is not only soaring steadily, but the fluid is becoming ever scarcer, so that the combination of price and scarcity proves almost fatal to the carrying out of the recommendation. Built new pavilion. A very handsome new pavilion has been built at the Fountain of Youth grounds, replacing a temporary structure. Considerable work has been done during the past few months, and the place is now assuming a very attractive appearance. The Ponce de Leon Fountain of Youth Company has filed articles of incorporation for record in the clerk's office. New lamps arrive. New street lamps, which various sections of the county have petitioned the City Commission for, have arrived and will be placed in position within the next few days by the St. John's Electric Company. Pirates may play another game in St. Augustine. Efforts are in progress to secure financial support for another ball game with the Pittsburgh Pirates, who are now in Cuba. During their recent visit to St. Augustine, the members of the Smokies City ball team expressed much admiration for the old city and were hopeful of returning here. They were also surprised at the quality of the ball material here, and they could hardly believe that the Saints were composed solely of local players. They have advised the local ball team management that they will be in a position to accept an invitation to play here again about the 1st of November. They ask for a guarantee of $250, and some of the fans are canvassing among their friends with a view for pledging the sum asked for. The game between the Pirates and the Saints attracted the biggest crowd ever seen at Lewis Ballpark, and it is the consensus of opinion that a return game would draw at least half as large a crowd as did the first game. Tractor demonstration. There will be a demonstration of the Beeman tractor here next Saturday on the streets of Hastings. If you want to see a little garden tractor that really does the business, come and take a look. Dance well patronized. Manager C.M. DuPont is to be congratulated on the successful outcome of the initial dance given here last Monday night. The orchestra from Palatka furnished the music and added much to the pleasure of the dance. Mr. DuPont plans to have these dances every Monday night if the patronage warrants, and the affair of last Monday night augurs well for his undertaking. This form of recreation is a welcome one to the young people of the town, who will no doubt attend these dances in numbers sufficiently to ensure success to Mr. DuPont's venture. I hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Hastings Headline History. This podcast was brought to you by Presenting the Past, bringing history back to the present through historic presentations and the sale of treasures from days gone by. This episode was produced by me, Michelle Murillo, with the aid of vintage copies of the Hastings Herald. And to wrap up this week in Hastings Headline History, how about a tune from the time? the 1919 hit Suicide Blues by Arthur Collins.
I'm disappointed, my heart is disjointed. There's something that's addling my mind. I'm on the blink. I just can't think. There's no cure I can find. Oh Lord, I'm gonna bathe myself in carbolic acid and eat 8 pounds of Paris cream. Chew all the heads off a box of sulfur matches and wash them down with gasoline. And I'll hang myself to a weeping willow tree. I don't think. And stab myself a time or two, and I'll weep and sigh till I droop and die. 'Cause I certainly got the suicide blues. You tell the people that I had the suicide blues. My spirit's busted, I'm plumb disgusted, 'cause everything seemed to go wrong. In all my dreams, my goodness, this grief it seems, oh yeah, my sorrow song. I'm going to bathe myself in carbolic acid and eat 1 pound of Paris green. Oh my, chew all the heads off a box of sulfur matches and wash them down with gasoline. Then I'll hang myself to a weeping willow tree. Maybe. And stab myself a time or two, and I'll weep and sigh till I droop and die. 'Cause I certainly got the suicide blues. You tell the people that I had the suicide blues. That I had the suicide blues.